Well, despite concerns about the link between access to aid and infant malnutrition, authorities in the Eastern Cape insist they've not dropped the ball. The Provincial Social Development Department says it's managed to deliver over 22,000 food parcels to families, but it admits that as it approached week 3 of distribution, the risk of not meeting deadlines by the appointed service provider became little more realistic. Well, to give their response, we reached out to the Eastern Cape's Department of Social Development, and joining us now via Zoom is Wandile Nkapai. He's the Chief Director of Developmental Social Welfare Services. Mr. Nkapai, thank you so much for joining us. Can you confirm that in your district 14 children effectively died of malnourishment or starved to death?
Yes, good morning. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Yes, as a department, we can confirm that we have received reported incidents of 7 children reported dead and 18 still struggling in hospital as a result of challenges of malnutrition. That we can confirm.
Can you tell us or confirm, I've read some of the reports, but I'd like to hear it from your side, what actually happened?
Well, regarding the case of the incident for children, well, this is an incident of teenage mothers. In other words, there's a challenge in the eastern part of the province for young children who are having, who themselves got children at an early stage, and because of their levels of maturity, find it very difficult to provide care and support for those children, because remember, they themselves are also supposed to be taken care of themselves. And as a result of that, these were largely affected by malnutrition, which together with various other government departments, we intervened as a department to ensure that, amongst others, we provide them with opportunities to start up backyard gardens and small plots to produce fresh vegetables. That would contribute towards some sort of addressing needs of hunger as well as nutritious food.
So how much of the responsibility of nutrition is on your department and the service provider involved in this case of the food parcels?
No, these are two different matters. Unfortunately, we're dealing with the nutrition and the incident that is reported of the death, unfortunate passing away of children, is an issue that has to do with nutrition, which is not necessarily the full competence of the Department of Social Development. The area which is now separate matter of the food distribution is a program that is meant to address the immediate needs of hunger to households that were recorded as no-income households, and some of those households also that are living below the poverty line. So that is a separate program. It's not connected to the incident of the nutrition and deaths of children. These are two separate matters. Our responsibility is more on the food provisioning to assist households that may have challenges of hunger. It's not necessarily the same thing as the challenges of nutrition, children that died as a result of malnutrition.
So for me, it's unfathomable.
Those are two different.
Okay, but for me, it's unfathomable how children are actually dying of malnutrition when they should be getting food parcels. Who dropped the ball here? Who's responsible? Because for me, it's a crime of neglect, and there is, or there should be, a massive civil claim.
No. I think it's a misunderstanding. It's coincidental that this death happens at the time that we were distributing food, which was a long-term planned program. It's got nothing to do with the incident at hand. the case of malnutrition is not necessarily connected to the issue of the food distribution as at hand now. And as I'm saying, it's not, the malnutrition matter is not a competence of the Department of Social Development.
Whose competence is it, if anybody's then, to assist these children?
There are a range of stakeholders on that, but ours, to be specific on us, ours is to, in incident where after doing a profile, we discovered that the household finds difficult to afford to look after themselves for food, in other words, to address the needs of hunger. We assist with a food parcel where possible, which will last that person, that household or family members for a period of at least a month. In this instance, we have been, since the 2nd of March, we have commenced with the food distribution since the 2nd of March, which was a program of social development, not really related to the nutrition incident. That we provided these households for food to the value of 2 months. That will last them for a period of 2 months. But as we indicated, we experienced challenges in concluding the program in time. We are alert of the fact that we were operating on a very tight time frames, and there were quite a push and pull factors involved. Pull factors in that there was a need for us to provide food to households out there, and of course there was also a push for us to do this before the end of the financial year.
Are there food parcels that were not delivered when they should have been?
Yes, we were supposed to have concluded the program, which we started in 2nd May, but we couldn't. We're still reconciling now, but as at the time that I had to appear here, there were about 22,787, could be more, of food that has been given to 22,787 households that have received food to the value of 2 months. But we still have to do a closeout report and, of course, engage the service provider to get more information.
So how many households that were meant to receive food parcels didn't receive food parcels?
Okay, the target, when we started the program and we did the actual assessment of the need out there and the amount of money that would have been available that we motivated to assist, was we were going to manage to give food to 85,000 households. That would, if we take an average of 5 members of household per 5 members or family members per household, that would have been close to 500,000 people at least receiving food. But because, as I indicated, the rollover, this was from a rollover funding, which we received towards the end of November. And then we had, as a department, to start the processes of procurement, supply chain, to ensure that we do the tender processes, which we kicked off earnestly in December. But because of the directives that at least we do not close the tender in December because of the short term in terms of business operations, we then had to close the tender on the 21st of January. Then we started with the evaluation, bid adjudication and all that, up to the stage of awarding towards the end of November. Then on the 2nd of March, we kicked off. Ideally, we were supposed to conclude the project, even though we were working under strict time frames. Around the 18th, that was our anticipation. But a number of challenges were experienced by the service provider, and they made an approach, I think, on the 14th to be exact. They started making an approach to the department, indicating quite a number of other areas of challenges and making some requests, which upon deliberation as a department, we did not necessarily agree fully, and then indicated that it may be important to ensure that we do our best to conclude at least by the 21st of March, with a view for us to do the processing of the invoices, which would have to be finalized payment by the 24th.
Okay.
That would have been the last day of the payment cycle.
All right.
In
So,
the month of March.
sorry to interrupt. So, of the target of 85,000, you or the service provider only managed to deliver 22,000 food parcels. Is that correct?
22,787. As at the time we did the reconciliation, there could be more, but that's around plus minus that. So meaning,
you're 60,000 short.
To answer your question, 63,000 family households have still to receive food parcels, have not yet been reached to get food parcels. Yes.
But that's criminal, Mr. Nkapai. Have they been paid, the service provider, to deliver these food parcels? What are you going to do?
No. The service provider is not paid. The service provider is paid as per delivery of services rendered. That is the system that government uses. We are going to engage with the service provider. We have been engaging with the service provider, and then we will determine the plan of action from there.
How do you feel about the fact that 60,000 households who were expecting to receive food haven't?
No, nobody would be excited about that, no doubt about it. Nobody would be excited about that, no doubt about it. As I indicated, the push and the pull factors involved. So it is an unfortunate situation to the point that given the amount of money that we were about to lose, we took a resolution as a department to divert the money, or what we call reappropriation, to other cost pressure items, so that at least it's utilized, it's not lost unnecessarily. Thank you.
It feels tragic, Mr. Nkapai. It feels like a tragic shame that these families are waiting, and I hope that you can rectify the situation, because if it were me, I'd be getting in my car and just buying as much food as I could possibly get, even a little bit of with my own cash, to try and get food to some starving families in your department. As a person who's in charge of your department, we'd love to see some consequences, because it feels like this is a massive failure in so many ways. But you were kind enough and courteous enough to come on air, and I thank you for that.